Hello students, today's agenda is to check homework. We're going to be learning about the slope-intercept and you'll be able to do 12.9 and 12.10. Students will be able to graph linear equations by using the slope and the y-intercept. So let me give you some information about the slope first. The slope in the y equals mx plus b. Let's look at one example. If we have y equals 2/3 x plus 1, this m is the slope, the coefficient of x, el número que está a un lado de la x. And b is the y-intercept. Okay, this is always, if it's in y, when y is by itself, then this is your y-intercept, this is your slope. Okay, so more information about the slope is that you can, if you have 2 points, this is the formula to find the slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We're not going to be doing any of that today, but it's just so that you relate it when you see it later. So this is how you can find that information. The slope is represented by the letter m, lowercase, and it means the change of y over the change of x, and you'll see what that means. Some people know it as rise over run, and I decided to include some pictures to relate it. I remember the rise, the word rise with sunrise, and so if the sun goes up in the morning, goes down in the evening. Scientifically, we know that that's not true, but it helps me remember. Again, the rise, up when it's positive, down when it's negative. The run, you run to the right if it's positive, you run to the left if it's negative. Okay, so that's information that's going to help you. Again, that's the number next to the x. One more thing that you need to know is if the slope is positive, meaning like 2/3, or like the one that you just saw, 2/3, if it's positive, you're going to create a line that is positive. From left to right, you go up, okay? And it's because you rise and then run. If the slope is negative, your line is also negative, and it's because the rise is going to be negative and the run is positive. So negative, the slope 0, your line will look something like this. It's a horizontal line. And when it's undefined, your line is going to go vertical. Oops, that doesn't look very vertical, but straight down, okay? And it just means that if you put it in the computer, if you divide, you get error. So it's something like a divided by 0. It's equals to, in the calculator it says error, then it's undefined. Okay, so positive slope, positive line, negative slope, negative line, 0 slope, horizontal. When it says undefined or error, vertical line. Okay, so something like that. And then your line is going to go up or down. Okay, so now that was the difficult part, lots of information. But now let's look at these graphs. I love the slope-intercept, and a lot of people say, like, why do we have to learn another way? We have learned 2 different ways already in the previous lessons, but this is like the easiest one. Why? Again, this is your y-intercept. Y-intercept. And this is your slope. And the y-intercept is always your first point on y. Always on the y-axis. It's always the first point. Since it's positive, it's 1 up. You go up, that's your first point. Excuse me. Then you're going to get to a second point using the slope. And how? Remember that I told you about the sun and the runner? This is the sun. It goes up or down depending on the sign. And this, since it's positive, it's going to go to the right. Okay? So positive 2 Excuse me again. Okay, positive 2, and you start counting from the point that you graphed first. Okay, first point, then since it's positive, you go up 1, 2, and then to the right 3. 1, 2, 3. That's where you place your second point. The slope you can repeat as many times as you want. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Now, if this is positive, it goes up and to the right, up and to the right, up and to the right. If you want to find points on the other side, you can go the opposite way. Instead of up, it's down. Instead of right, it's left. So down, left, and you still continue to have the same slope. So -2, 1, 2, 3 to the left. -2, 1, 2, 3 to the left. You must be saying, what is she doing? You can try with the other methods that we used of graphing, and you will see that you will get the same line. The points might look a little bit different, but you get the same line. Okay, so notice how they aligned beautifully because we repeated the slope. Now, some people say, teacher, can I just do the slope once? That should be sufficient. However, just to make sure that you, because if we make the points too big, we might graph it like this and then we get a little bit off. So the other ones help us align better. So los otros no son necesarios, pero sí nos ayudan a alinearlo un poco mejor. Okay, again, first point, and it's the y-intercept. -4 is now down here. Let me see if I can zoom a little bit. So -4 is down here. That's my first point, the y-intercept, always on y. And then, so people say y-y-x, y-y-x, okay? If you want to see it that way, that's fine. So y-intercept, you go up 1, and then 2 to the right, 1, 2, right there. So the sun rises, not sunset, and then to the right. Positive, positive, up, right. Up, right, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. And remember that it will be the same thing. If I put -1, meaning down, -2, I change the signs of both, down, to the left. Why is that the same? Because negative divided by negative is still positive, okay? So that's in case you want to put more numbers, more points. If otherwise, you can just do this. Why do I love this method? You have to remember different parts, but you don't have to solve anything in here. Okay, so down, 2 to the left, down, 2 to the left, down, 2 to the left. So that's your line right there. And that's all you have to do. Remember, positive on top is up, negative is down. Positive is to the right, negative is to the left. So it's like change on y, change on y, change on x. Okay? Let's do one more. Okay, again, this is your first point. And then this is your rise, but uh-oh, look at what's going on in here. This negative can only go with one of the two. It cannot go with both. And so right now I'm just gonna put it with this one. So that means that I'm gonna run to the left, right? It's going to the left now because it has a negative. So some people decide to put it on top. I'll show you that it's gonna be the same thing. It doesn't matter. So my first point is -2. 1, 2. Remember, it's always on y. That is my first point. Then the negative is with the 2, not with the 1. So that's going to go up. And then -2 is to the left. 1, 2, right there. 1, 2, up, 1, 2. So somebody said, teacher, what if I decide to give it to the 1 and not the 2? You cannot give it to both. That's one thing for sure. If you decide to give it to the 1, that means that your sign is going down and you're still going to the right because it's the 2 is positive. Okay, so let's see. First point in negative 2 is right here. Then the negative belongs to the 1, so the right is sunset. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Notice how I'm going to get different points, but at the same time, I'm still gonna get the same line. So this is not about the points, but rather the direction of the line. That's what matters. The line is the one that matches this. Okay, again, if you decide to give to the negative to the 1, that's okay, or you can give it to the 2, it's okay. You still get the same line. Remember, we're graphing the line. The points are just there to guide us. Okay, one thing that I wanted to show you is that the other ones have been positive lines, right? The slope is positive, the line is positive. Slope is positive, the line is positive. Okay, positive slope gives us positive line. Then slope is negative, the number next to x, this is the slope. The slope is negative, the line is negative. So notice how this one's going down in the other direction. Okay. Okay, again, first point, which is positive 2. Whoops, sorry. And then we have a negative. This time I'm going to give it to the numerator, meaning it's going to go down. My sign is going to go down. And the runner, since it's positive, it's going to go to the right. So positive 2 on y, negative 3 on y. I don't place the point in there until I go here. So until I get here, that's when I put my second point. So 5 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right there. So again, first point, negative 3, go down, positive 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right there. And that's where I place it. I don't have enough space for more, so it would be 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that, okay? But if I want to give it to the 5, it would be positive 2, then let me write it again so that we don't get confused. Y equals negative 3/5 x plus 2. Now I'm giving the negative to the, let me grab this before I graph this one with blue. Well, let me do it a little bit off so that you can see why it's important to do more than 1 point. So I start with 2. This is gonna go up because it's positive. 1, 2, 3. And then this is negative 5, meaning to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See why I like to do more than only 2 points? Me gusta hacer más de 2 puntos para que sea un poquito más exacta. Y lo moví a propósito para que lo vieran, pero this is the line, okay? Okay, so you can see that you will get the same line if you give the negative to the 3 or the 5, but only one of them, and only if you have a negative. If you don't have a negative, don't give it to anybody, okay? So you just put the arrows in there. Okay, since this is, I'm gonna do several examples so that it gets easy. Okay, sometimes your slope is not gonna be rise run? We don't have a run, so we need to write it as a fraction. And you have learned that you can just put any whole number over 1, and that's going to be your run, okay? So your rise and your run, both are positive, so it's up and right. This is your first point on y, always on y, so -1 up to 1 to the right, so 1 2 1 1 2 1 1 2 1 1 2 1, okay? And so that's gonna be my line. You can do some on the other direction if you want. -2 1 -2 1, which will be actually here and here, not well aligned. First point, since it's positive you go up, since it's positive you go to the right, okay? Again, this one doesn't have a run, so we're gonna put it over 1. Remember, always in fraction form. And so this is your first point, and this is your rise, and this is your run. Notice how the negative makes it go down, okay? And to the right. So -1 is your first point, it's right here. Then you're gonna go down because it's -1 2 3, and then you don't place a point in there. 1 to the right, right there. -3, +1. And so those are gonna be your points. Again, if you were to do the opposite, down right, you would do up left. So about here and about here, see? So it helps you to guide on the other direction as well. And you just place the arrow, meaning that it goes infinitely on both directions. If you need to pause, make sure, or rewind, you can go ahead and do that. So this is a tricky one. When you don't have a coefficient, that means that the coefficient is a 1 in there, but even more, it's a -1. So that's going to be your rise, but you still don't have a run, so you also put it over 1. So if there is nothing, put 1 over 1. Again, this is your first point, -2, always on y. Then rise is -1, so you go down, and the run is +1, so to the right. So down to the right, down to the right. Ojo, be careful, because some people see a negative and they want to go down and left. Down and left, that means double negative, and it's not double negative. It's only one negative, one positive. So down to the right, one down to the right, down to the right. Okay, and so that's going to be your graph. Even though I don't have points in there, I see that it's 1 and 1 and 1, so I align it, right, like around there. And that's going to be even better. Okay, so these are all the examples. Now you can work on page 9 and page 10 and have fun. And remember, love math because math loves you.